Even though he only played in the NFL for 9 years, many people still think of Jim Brown as the best football player who ever lived. He left the game in his prime in 1966 to become an actor, and later became known as a social activist for his work with the civil rights movement and with inner-city gangs. Brown died on Thursday in Los Angeles. His wife Monique said he was 87. In an Instagram post, Monique said, "It is with great sadness that I tell you that my husband, Jim Brown, has died. He died peacefully at our home in Los Angeles last night. He was a well-known activist, actor, and sports star around the world. He was a wonderful husband, father, and grandfather to our family. We're heartbroken." Brown led the NFL in rushing in 8 of his 9 seasons with the Cleveland Browns. He was named the league's MVP 3 times and was a key part of the Browns' 1964 NFL championship team. He was named to the NFL's 50th, 75th, and 100th anniversary all-time teams. In 1971, he was admitted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. In a statement on Twitter, the Browns said, "It's impossible to describe the deep love and gratitude we feel for having the chance to be a small part of Jim's incredible life and legacy. We are sad about his death, but we are happy about the lasting light he brought to the world. Jim's family, friends, and everyone he helped along the way are in our thoughts." Brown is also known as one of the best lacrosse players of all time. He grew up on Long Island. But Brown left the NFL quickly because he was getting more and more work in Hollywood. In England, where The Dirty Dozen was being filmed, bad weather caused production delays. This meant that Brown would miss at least the start of training camp in the summer of 1966. Team owner Art Modell said he would fine Brown $100 for every day he was late. Brown had already said that the 1966 season would be his last, since it was the last year of his contract. He quickly revealed that he was retiring. He had turned 30. He may have had his best season in 1963, when he ran for 1,863 yards and scored 12 scores in 14 games. Jimmy and Dee Haslam, who owned the Cleveland Browns, said in a statement on Friday, "Jim Brown is a true icon of not only the Cleveland Browns, but of the whole NFL. He was probably one of the best players in NFL history and was definitely the best Browns player ever. Jim was a big reason why the Browns have so many great fans today. So many people grew up watching him conquer on the football field, but his many awards on the field only tell a small part of his story. When he quit, he was the NFL's all-time leader in rushing yards. Even though he retired at a young age, Brown never played again, though he allegedly toyed with the idea in 1983. When Franco Harris was getting close to his all-time record and Brown was 47. Brown didn't like Harris because he thought Harris ran too often out of the playing area to avoid getting hit. Harris never beat Brown's record of 12,312 yards for a career, but others have. Brown is in 11th place all-time right now. Brown had a long career as an actor, both in movies and on TV. In the movie 100 Rifles from 1969, he had a love scene with Raquel Welch, which made him the most controversial character. It was one of the first times 2 people of different races fell in love on film. Beginning in the 1980s, Brown mostly showed up on TV shows. In his personal life, he did not do as well. Brown was married twice and had 6 children he didn't spend much time with. He was also accused of violence against women 5 times. Some of whom were his wives or lovers. He was only found guilty of a crime once, and that was in 1999, when he was convicted of misdemeanor mischief for breaking the windows of his wife Monique's car with a shovel when he was 63 years old. He was given a year of counseling for domestic abuse, 400 hours of community service, a fine of $1,800, and 3 years of probation. Brown didn't do what he was told, so he got 6 months in county jail. After 4 months, he was let go. Brown was described by Freeman as saying, "Most of what the media has written about me and my relationships with women is either exaggerated or completely false. I do think there have been times when I should have been more in charge of myself. But a lot of the things that have been said about me in the press have been said only because my name is Jim Brown. I show respect to everyone, and that includes women. People say I'm an angry monster, but I'm not. Brown had been an activist almost since the day he left Syracuse. The situation of black people in the South and the terrible poverty that so many black Americans had to live in bothered him and made him want to do something about it. He was different after Syracuse, said Ed Corley, a friend from childhood. I think he wanted to be a good football player, but I also think he wanted to make a difference in the world. He would do whatever it took to make things better for his people. Brown, who was in the Army ROTC at Syracuse and rose to the rank of captain in the Army Reserve before being honorably released, helped Muhammad Ali fight against being forced to join the Army. Brown was the driving force behind the Cleveland Summit, which was a news conference where several famous black athletes, including Bill Russell and Lou Alcindor, now Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, spoke out in support of Ali. Brown told the Cleveland Plain Dealer in 2012, "I thought that with Ali taking the position he was taking, losing the title, and the government throwing everything they had at him, we as a group of famous athletes could find out the truth, stand behind Ali, and give him the support he needed." A few years ago, Jabbar said, Jim Brown really stood for success for black people. He was so good that everyone had to agree that he was the best at what he did, no matter what color they were. In the 1960s, when anything a black person did was questioned as to how important it was, this meant a lot to them, but there was no doubt about Jim Brown. Brown has talked about how important education is for a long time. Brown has shown many times how much he values education. In 1968, he started the Black Economic Union, a nonprofit that helped black people become entrepreneurs. In 1988, he started the Amer I Can program, which helped gang members and at-risk youth improve their lives through education. In 2020, he told NFL Network, "If you want to know what makes the world go round, you really need to understand education and economic development. So when you combine the two, you can help a large number of people." Right now, we're almost getting ready to start the new movement. You have young people, which you should always have, but now you have young people who want to do the right thing. I think they will lead us into this new age of change. Brown told the Cleveland Plain Dealer in 2012, "I thought that with Ali taking the position he was taking, losing the title, and the government throwing everything they had at him, we as a group of famous athletes could find out the truth, stand behind Ali, and give him the support he needed." You ask him about Art Modell and the fines of $100 per day. Brown leans in front. "You want to know the real story?" he asks. "I had no buying power, but the Browns' only advantage over me was that I had to play for them if I wanted to keep playing football. They couldn't make me play football though. Art was going to find me every day I stayed on the movie set. I asked Art, 'What do you mean? If I don't show up, you can't find me.' Kiss. I'm gone now. You let me in." I was a player for 9 years. I never missed a football game, and I never passed out on the field. I may not be the best, but when it was time to play, I was there. I was happy when I was done. I was happy for 9 years. I did everything I set out to do. I started making movies. I had a lot of conversations with pretty girls. I never looked back. Thanks for watching.